welcome to Hashimoto's Unfiltered, real talk, real solutions. The podcast where we cut through the noise and get straight to the heart of living with Hashimoto's. My name is Dr. Ray Benedetto, your host, and I'm here to share my expertise, personal insights, and from time to time, conversations with incredible guests to help you take control of your health. Together, we'll explore actionable items, debunk myths, and navigate the complexities of your thyroid health. So whether you're newly diagnosed or a seasoned warrior, this is your space for unfiltered truth and real hope. Let's dive in. The topic of today's talk is I have seen in the past, or I currently am seeing, a functional doctor. These are things I hear all the time. I get on consultations with everyone and, initial consultations, and someone's like, I have seen a functional doctor in the past, or I am currently seeing a functional doctor right now, but I'm not getting better. Sometimes it's been for a very long time. Like I've been seeing this doctor for 6 months, 12 months, 18 months. Like I'm seeing a functional doctor already, but I'm not getting better. What is going on? Like, why am I not getting better? I've had all these tests run. I've spent all this money. There are two reasons for this. Those of you who have been listening to me for any length of time, this is kind of my format. So there's a challenge or a problem or a roadblock that my patients or my audience, if you will, is dealing with. A lot of them, because they're all coming to me with these questions and these challenges. So the way my brain functions, the way I operate, I'm like this with my patients too, is like, bring it, like, what do we got? And then let's dissect this. Like, what's the root here? Why is this happening? That kind of thing. And then what's the solution? So like, what can we now do to address the challenge or the roadblock or the problem or the sticking point that we're having? And this is a big one because people come to me all the time as a functional medicine practitioner who specializes in helping people with Hashimoto's. They get to me and they've already seen other providers that are functional doctors or functional practitioners or whatever you want to call it. Unfortunately, it's like a buzzword nowadays, so it's a little overused. Why would you have seen someone in the past or seen someone currently and you are not getting better? What's going on? There are primarily two reasons for this. We're going to break each one of them down in just a couple minutes for each one. But there's primarily two reasons for this. Number one is they are not really a functional doctor. Like they may be calling themselves one. You can call yourself whatever you want. They may be calling themselves one, but they truly are not. And I find this a lot. So in my world, a functional doctor, if you look up the term like functional medicine, a functional doctor, a functional healthcare practitioner, whatever we want to call it. Again, it's become a little bit of a buzzword, but in my world, in my estimation, it is basically the opposite of conventional Western mainstream medicine. What does medicine do? You go to the doctor, you have a symptom. They might run some tests, they might make a diagnosis, but they're prescribing basically a pill to treat that symptom or treat that diagnosis without taking into account this one person's individual situation, their individual physiology, their individual home life, lifestyle, any of that stuff. It's just like everything's robotic, everything's cookie cutter. You go to the doctor with this symptom or this diagnosis, you get this prescription. Now, functional medicine, in my estimation, is someone comes to me with a problem, a symptom, a diagnosis, what have you. What we want to do first is let's evaluate this person, not their diagnosis or not their symptom or not their lab tests. Let's sit down and let's talk about this person. So anyone will tell you when I offer things like consultations, the very first time I meet with someone, I shut up and I take notes and I tell someone, lay it on me. What's going on? What's your life like? What's your history been? How did we get to today? Where have you been? Where are you trying to get to? Like what is going on? Just lay it on me. And then my job as like the Sherlock Holmes, like as a functional medicine practitioner, is to listen to what I'm hearing, look at what I'm seeing on their maybe previous lab tests or things like that, and try and figure out what is going on with this person? What is causing the problem? What's at the root cause of their symptoms, their diagnoses, what have you? Or how can we figure that out? Because until we can do that, and that's very individual for each person. So until we can do that, we can't get them fixed, because the goal is figuring out, why are they having this? Why is this happening? What's causing it? Let's figure that out, and let's treat the underlying causes, the root causes, and then this person gets better, instead of covering up symptoms or treating lab tests with medications, because that doesn't work. That's not helping fix anything. So someone comes to me and it's like, all right, let's evaluate the whole deal. Let's figure out what is causing the problem, or how are we going to figure out what's causing what's the underlying root of the problem. And then let's deal with that. Let's put a plan together to handle that. And then that will then get someone better by fixing the cause of what's causing their symptoms or their condition. I get it. That's not sexy. It's a lot easier to go to your doctor and be like, oh, I have this problem, take this pill and it'll help this problem. Great. Awesome. See you later. Like, that doesn't involve it's quick, it's easy. Doesn't involve any work on anyone's part, but it's not fixing anything, and it's not getting people better. So that's kind of like the difference between, say, conventional Western medicine and functional medicine in general. Now, if you're, quote, functional doctor, so the reason number one why you wouldn't be getting better seeing a functional doctor is they're not really a functional doctor. They're not doing that. You're still going to see them. And again, sometimes they are alternative practitioners like chiropractors and naturopaths and stuff like that. Sometimes they're actually medical doctors who are just trying to kind of capitalize on the functional medicine movement. So they kind of like quasi on the natural side of things, but they're still medically trained. But they're holding themselves out as a functional doctor because they see a market there, let's say, for patients. So they're not really a functional doctor. You go to them, they maybe do a bit of a case workup, but they're still just running a ton of tests. They're running food sensitivity testing and blood work. And I just had to talk with someone who's considering working with me this past week. And it's like thousands of dollars in testing and like not any better. Didn't get anywhere. Like all this blood work, food sensitivity testing, hair testing, and GI maps, and all these different tests that someone's having done, and not in any specific, not towards any specific goal, like, hey, I have Hashimoto's. What do we have to do to figure out what's causing the Hashimoto's? And then let's put a plan together to treat that. Just like, hey, you come to me, we're going to figure out this problem. We're going to run all these tests. And then based on the tests, we're going to prescribe maybe some dietary changes, or we're going to prescribe some supplements, based on your nutrition deficiencies, things like that. I'm not saying those can't help, but when you talk about a very specific problem like Hashimoto's, that's a very generic answer. It's a very generic kind of blanketed, like everyone who comes to this, quote, functional doctor, that's all they do. So they're functioning very much like allopathic conventional medicine does. Like, come to me, what are your symptoms? What are your diagnoses? Let's run maybe some different tests. Let's run functional tests, but then we're just treating what we find on the test. So you got this, digestive thing, take these probiotics. Like, you have this nutrient deficiency, take this nutrients. We got this food sensitivity testing, don't eat these foods. It's very generic. It's very cookie cutter, and it's not based on the person. It's based on the tests. And we're not prescribing medications, but now we're prescribing like supplements and all this kind of stuff. So people are taking hundreds of dollars of supplements and a million things a day. They don't know what's helping and what's working, and they're not getting better. So that's number one. They're not a real true functional medicine doctor. They're like kind of still functioning like a conventional allopathic medical doctor, but they're just not prescribing medications. They're using functional tests and supplements and things like that instead of medications. So that's number one. Number two is, if you have Hashimoto's, and you're listening to the sound of my voice right now, you probably do, because that's what I do. But if you have Hashimoto's, or you have, let's use other conditions too. You have type 2 diabetes. You have Crohn's disease. You have something. You have some other diagnosis. Let's stick with Hashimoto's just because that's kind of where my wheelhouse is. If you're seeing a generalized, right, like a general practitioner, like a primary care practitioner is very general, is a generalist. If you're seeing a generalist functional medicine doctor that's doing kind of the things that I just laid out in problem number one, in the first reason, if you're seeing a doctor like that, they don't have experience. They don't have specialty. They don't see Hashimoto's patients all day. So they're doing the same thing that they do with you, that they do with the person who comes in with digestive issues, or the person that comes to them with type 2 diabetes. They're still running this like menu of tests and then just prescribing treatments or supplements based on the test results. So they don't really specialize in Hashimoto's. So they don't understand the nuances. They don't understand what it's like to have Hashimoto's. Again, you guys have heard my story. My wife has it. Like, I live it. We live it. Like, that's why you're hearing the sound of my voice right now, is that we diagnosed her with it, 12, 13 years ago. And we had to figure out how to get her better and keep her better. And then it became the mission. So that's my specialty. That's what I do. I live it. I see Hashimoto's patients all day, every day. I'm married to it. Like, I live it. So you want a doc like that, not some generalized, specialized functional medicine doc that's got $2,000 to $3,000 worth of tests, spent before we even do any treatment. And the treatment's just generic anyway. So the reason why you're seeing a functional medicine doc, let's say, or a functional doctor and it's not working is because the second reason would be because they're not specialized. They don't have the experience and the knowledge and the firsthand knowledge really, but they don't have the experience and the knowledge and the track record of specifically developing solutions for your specific problem or working with people that have your specific problem. So that's it, gang. There's two. Those are the two biggies. It was why you may be seeing a functional doctor, or you have seen a functional doctor in the past and you're not getting any better. And unfortunately, they may have lightened the pockets a little bit along the way. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, but this is the way it goes. Anyone who's nodding their head right now has been through that. It's because they're not really a functional doctor. They're not looking at root causes, and they're not putting together specific individualized plans for people on how to address those root causes and get them healthy. They are basically a natural version of a conventional allopathic doctor, medical doctor. Or yes, they're a functional medicine provider, but they're a generalist. They don't specialize in Hashimoto's. They don't specialize in what you have. They don't live it. It's not their calling. It's not their mission in life is to help people with it. And they just haven't gotten good at knowing how to do that. That's all I do. Like a one-trick pony at this point, So that's it, gang. They're either not a real functional medicine practitioner, or they are, but they just don't really specialize in what you do. They're a generalist in what you have. So they're functioning very much like the functional medicine doctor who claims to be. They're doing the same stuff. They're just like, oh, well, all right, well, we'll figure out your nutrient deficiencies and we'll figure out, your food sensitivities. And then we'll do all these tests and then we'll figure out like, here, we're going to prescribe this and don't eat this and that kind of thing. And it's kind of like all over the place. Like it's treating symptoms or it's treating tests. It's not taking into account what does this one person need as far as a game plan. So it's not evaluation on an individual basis. So that's why there's a lot of you that come to me. I get it, seeing functional quote doctors out there, and they're, again, for 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, it's crazy. And they're not getting anywhere. I have one patient, she's great, Jean, she's always commenting and stuff. And she's like, she saw, I think 3 or 4 or something like that before coming to me. And, we had her fixed up in months just because we took the approach that I'm kind of laying out here is like, you have Hashimoto's, that's a diagnosis, great. But let's dig into you and let's figure out your root causes for that. Because then that's going to individualize a treatment plan on how it's going to tell us over time, how are we going to treat you? Which is going to be different, slightly different usually, sometimes wildly different than the next person who comes to me who has the same diagnosis, 2 radically different game plans or endpoints. So I hope that helps. I know a lot of you guys are frustrated with it because I hear it all day, every day. Like I'm seeing a functional doctor, I wasted a bunch of money, I'm not better. What gives here? So that's it. Either they're not a real functional medicine doctor or a functional practitioner, even though they might claim to be, or they are, but they don't specialize in your specific problem like Hashimoto's. So they function more as a generalist, and we're going to get maybe some generalized results from that. We're not going to get the relief and the results and the health that we want from that. So I hope that helps. I hope that makes sense for everybody. I see this all the time. I have consultations all day, every day with you guys. And half the time someone either is seeing someone or has seen someone in the past and haven't gotten the results they want. And this is why. These are the 2 reasons why. So I wanted to kind of break it all down today in one shot, and now it lives for all of eternity on a recording. I want to thank you for tuning in to Hashimoto's Unfiltered, Real Talk, Real Solutions. Again, my name is Dr. Ray Benedetto, and I hope today's episode helped to give you the tools and the insights you need to take another step forward on your Hashimoto's journey. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode if you think someone could benefit. You can also connect with me on Facebook at Dr. Ray Benedetto and on my website, drraybenedetto.com, for more resources and updates. Until next time, remember, you're not alone and real solutions are always within reach. Take care and be well.